Welcome to Sleepless in St. Canard, where nostalgia replaces REM cycles. I'm Kitty.
And I'm Ange.
And we haven't slept
in 30 years.
This is a podcast about the 90s Disney cartoon Darkwing Duck and his current papery comic misadventures. Namely, because today we're talking Dynamite's Darkwing number 5. Will there be tiny ties? Will there be tears? Will there be a Darkwing villain? Will it be Negaduck on stilts? I have many questions, as you can tell. And give me answers, but only at your leisure.
Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Storytime Theater.
This is my favorite time of the week. My Storytime Theater. I get my popcorn and my imagination TV fired up.
Do you ever watch Glam Kitchen on TikTok? That lady. Oh, God.
Oh, wait, hold on. Is she the one with the really big hat?
Yes.
Yes, I do know her.
If I had the ability, I would just talk like her through an entire review.
Perfect. I can imagine it in my head. You are wearing a giant hat.
Almost like a Darkwing Duck hat, even.
Almost. See? What if there was a whole issue about Darkwing's hat just getting bigger and bigger? But he refuses to take it off because it's part of his look.
I guess he'd just perish eventually.
And then it's just like the final panel is just Earth with a giant Darkwing hat. I'm available for consulting work, Dynamite, if you really want.
I promise we haven't been drinking.
Okay.
Just one of those days.
My dreams are now firmly in the stars. Why don't you tell me about what really happens?
Okay. So the front cover is Darkwing Duck kicking a soccer ball that is also a bomb. It has a lit fuse on it. There is also a paintbrush with white paint on it. I feel like neither of those things were relevant to the plot of this story. I've only read it once. I read it once when it dropped. Usually I read it once to get an impression, and then I read it again with you for your live kitty reaction.
Yes. And I do look exactly like that slug.
The homophobic slug?
Slightly. Isn't that slug confirmed gay?
I don't know.
We will get through this comic at some point, but I don't know. I'm sorry, I do not condone homophobic slugs. There we go.
Are you looking it up?
Anyway. Oh, I could be. What's his name? Glop Shitto?
No!
Is he gay?
I've never heard this before. I think you're just making this up.
Claude? His name is Claude? Okay. Claude is a slug alien character. So I have not seen this movie. Is this an actual, speaking character?
No, if memory serves, because I did see the movie, but it's all a blur. Right around the end of the movie, there's I think it's a lesbian kiss, and then in the background, the slug is just looking on and looking disapproving, and that's the live slug reaction. There's no speaking, and we never see the slug again.
This is far too much research for live slug reactions. I think this is more research than I've done for anything pertaining to Darkwing Duck. Okay, so this slug in this game has a lifelong partner, Guido, a cantankerous old timer. And they spend all day, every day, lounging around in front of the local saloon.
Good to know. I don't know if it's the same slug, but...
Yeah. I know it's not, because that guy's name was Cloud. I want to be the gay slug, not the the homophobic slug.
Okay, so live kitty reaction. She's sitting in front of a saloon instead.
With my life mate squinting. Oh, that was a very long segment there. Anyway.
I will probably shorten it for the sake of our listeners.
Just cut it out entirely. But now we know that guy both those guys have names because of course they do. It's Star Wars. Anyway.
Darkwing Duck, Dynamite, issue number 5. It is written by Amanda Dibert. The art is Carlo Loro. Jeff Eckelberry does the letters. Leslie Lyrics Lee did the main cover, and Nate Cosby is the packager and editor. And again, I don't think this has an individual title, but apparently issues 1 to 6, the arc is going to be called Foul Play.
Mm-hmm. Is it F period O period
yes,
W? Yeah, okay.
I think so. So,
okay,
some sort of fiendish organization connection.
Possibly.
But today...
This is issue 5. We haven't seen it yet, so...
No, not yet. We start out with Darkwing's big, bulgy eyeballs. Just looking very upset. And...
time out real quick, though. So last issue, he decided to be a hero again? Is that how it ended?
Yes, because Morgana and him went to the school where Bushroot had attacked the school, and
they trounced him pretty easily.
Well, Drake had trouble, and then he came back as Darkwing and did it, and he's like, okay, I'm back. And then they went and they got Launchpad from Transylvania.
Wing is like, I need you.
Yes, and then Morg told her dad and Darkwing to F off because they were being idiots. She was
like, I'm gonna go float off into the moon. Bye!
Yeah.
And Hunker was unpuddinged.
He was unpuddinged and traumatized and can't ever look at pudding again.
Right. Oh no, poor Hunker.
So basically, everything's back to normal. As normal.
Hunker's waking nightmares.
As normal can be.
Yes. Quote unquote normal. Okay. I'm ready. His bulging eyes.
His bulging eyes are what we see. And then we see a foot on his back. And we hear cracking and popping noises. And then we see a guy has his arms and he's stretching them like elastic bands behind his head. While Darkwing says, just you wait until I get... ... Totally relaxed. And then we see that he is at a spa with Launchpad. They're lying across those... I don't know, you probably know more about this than I do. You know, the spa beds?
Like massage tables?
Yes, massage tables. They're at massage tables. And
I was thinking an ashiatsu massage.
I guess so. He's certainly being...
stepping him?
He's being folded a little bit there in the...
I wish that was me.
Yeah, me too. And then we see there's a lady working on Launchpad's back. They're both doing the karate chop motion.
Okay.
And then they have cucumbers on their eyes, and Launchpad is eating his, which, yes.
Functional beauty.
Is that a thing? Do people actually put cucumbers on their eyes when they go to the spa? Because I've been to the spa, and that has never been offered to me.
I don't think they do it at spas these days. I feel like they have different ways of doing that, but I have definitely had cucumbers on my eyes before. My mom used to do it all the time. Like, she would buy, like, those little... like tubes of face mask, and we would lay around and chop up some cucumbers and lay with cucumbers on our eyes.
Did you eat them after?
You bet I did. I love cucumbers. Me flavored cucumbers.
Oh, now I want to be at a spa. I always want to be at a spa by default.
Yeah, for real. Why are we even recording this? Let's go.
Well, Darkwing and Launchpad are also really enjoying this. The massage therapist is what I'm going to call them.
It's appropriate.
I assume that's the proper term, and I would hope they're registered massage therapists. Who knows?
One can hope.
One of them says to Darkwing, "You're all done." And yeah, that's when Launchpad's eating the cucumbers, and says they even have snacks, and Darkwing says, non-embarrassing help is so hard to find. And then the lady offers up some nourishing organic good water from the Nourishing Organic Good Spa, which I guess is the name of the spa that they're at.
The Eternal Youth Spa. Do you remember that episode of Batman the Animated Series?
I don't.
Oh, it's a good one. It's one of my favorite ones. Anyway, it's never a good sign when there's, hey, why don't you try this magic miracle water from someplace very special.
Nourishing and organic.
Somebody's just popping it into the tap, into like a water balloon.
Mm-hmm. Darkwing takes it real quick. I should add that he's in his outfit from Dry Hard, like the green bathing suit with his cape.
Okay. Gotcha.
Which looks excellent. So
Is he wearing a mask?
Yes, he's wearing his mask.
Wearing a mask at the spa?
Yeah, because he was invited to the spa as Darkwing.
Oh, sorry. I must temper my curiosity as the story will tell me everything I need to know.
It should. So he squeezes some water into his mouth, but it looks like ice cubes instead. And he says, that water sure is cold. And the lady tells him that they keep it below freezing because the cold is good for the health. It's reinvigorating. And then we get like a very cartoony where the massage therapist elbows him in the back after he drank it and he shatters into like pieces of ice because he's so cold.
Mm-hmm.
I will send you a picture because I do like the visuals for this. I think it's
classic.
I think it's very good. There you go.
There we go. Oh, yes, he is crumbled. Oh, that sure does look like a Bud Flood water bottle.
You are very observant.
Yes, it's almost like I know some things about Darkwing Duck. I should have a podcast sometime. I hope there's the Floodettes. Anyway, continue.
Let's see here. Yeah, so he shatters into the ice cubes and says, seems to have taken me back to a molecular level. And his massage therapist is not impressed and is just like always with the whining, which I think Darkwing would be a very difficult customer for anything.
Agreed.
And then Launchpad makes the observation that the Nourishing Organic Good brand is everywhere right now. There's a supermarket and coffee shop, and they're even selling.
Okay, no good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Acronyms. See, here we go. We thought it was Dr. No Good. It's actually just liquidator. Printed himself a medical degree. He did, what was the hell was it? He was like an expert of like the quantum physics of water.
Oh, where he pointed out the dinosaur molecules.
Yes. Finally airing out the old doctorate. Anyway, continue. I've cracked this case.
You're cracking this case real fast. So Launchpad is wondering how stationery can be organic. Darkwing points out it's just branding, and they're even building a gym at Goslin's school. Launchpad says that maybe Darkwing should try out advertising, and Darkwing says legends don't need to advertise, and I think that's a good thing, because if we recall correctly from the Boom comics, when he tried to work on his image, he got knocked out of a building, Madman style.
Well, I also feel like it's never worked out for him regardless. How many times has he tried to change his image, and then we wind up with he is the swan that flutters in the daylight, or whatever the heck his a duck by any other name.
Yes. Oh, no. Let's Get Respectable.
Let's Get Respectable. That's the one. Anyway. Continue.
So Darkwing says that he did have a proposal for Darkwing Duck School for Getting Dangerous, but it was rejected, and he points out that people really coddle their kids these days.
They do. But also, so does he.
It's true.
It also reminds me of the Derek Zoolander for Derek Zoolander School for kids who want to learn how to read good and want to do other things good too.
Perfect. So Launchpad inquires as to who gave them the spa day, and Darkwing says it was just one of his faithful fans who fawned festively at the feet of the fearless fowl who frightens fiends with flair.
Fantastic.
Yeah, really leaned into
A
the
plus.
alliteration. Yeah.
A plus alliteration. I love it.
Launchpad just says, oh, so a secret admirer. And then, basically, Darkwing points out that the citizens of St. Canard are happy to have their hero back, and they felt he was entitled to a day of relaxation at the newest best spa in town. And we both know that's clearly not going to be the reason.
Gosalyn's school is fucking happening, man.
Her school is just, it's over a hellmouth or something. It's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something.
Brings all the villains to the yard.
So Launchpad's been asking all the questions too, and he asks who owns this place. And Darkwing says, when one is given what he deserves, it's best to not ask any questions. And they go into, I guess, a pool room, like with a pool, not like the game.
A swimming pool.
A swimming pool. And there's a bunch of statues and some people, and we see a familiar statue that looks like the Liquidator at the end of Dry Hard when he ends up a lawn ornament, and it's shooting water out of his mouth into the pool. And Launchpad says, doesn't that statue look familiar there, DW? And Darkwing says, that is technically a question, because he had said it's best not to ask any questions. Yeah.
Like a true detective.
Yes.
Don't ask questions.
Exactly. He's at a spa day. He's not going to think on his spa day. His brain is on vacation.
I can't argue there.
So, but he does agree with Launchpad. He says, now that you mention it, it does look like the cement statue I trapped Liquidator inside. And he assumes that the spa must be a tribute to his myriad of marvelous accomplishments, which is, he's giving himself way too much credit here, as usual.
As usual, yeah.
And then the statue begins to shake and rumble, and it starts talking, and it says, normal spa swims got you down? Feel a rumbling for a little something more? And all the people in the pool start screaming and running away. The Liquidator bursts out from the statue and says, try a refreshing new way to rejuvenate.
Liquidator!
The sound effect says bust crash.
So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How did you envision the Liquidator as the fountain? Did you think he was trapped inside it? I just assumed it was him, like solid, like everything that was a Liquidator, and that's why Drake had to drill a hole in him to make a fountain. That makes it sound like he was like a hollow, juicy center.
Same as you. I thought it was his whole body would have just been cement.
Solid. Got it. Okay. No, I was just curious because that made me go, kind of like a gusher, only with cement and the Liquidator inside.
Well, he is a gushin.
Hey, meow.
So he leaps into the pool and says, flush the old you down the drain and start over with the Liquidator. And I guess he's creating like a whirlpool of some sort because Launchpad and Darkwing are trying to swim away. And Darkwing is complaining it's supposed to be a relaxing spa day, not a total body workout. He grabs a towel, he whips it around, and he catches the hand of one of the other statues, which is like a goddess or a woman of some sort. And he pulls himself up into the lady's arms and looks at the statue and says, please don't tell Morgana, with a bit of a smirk on his face. 'Cause she's hot.
Ma'am.
I mean, for a statue, I guess. How about I send you a picture so you can decide for yourself?
Would you say she's a stone cold fox?
I'd say she's a stone cold duck.
Babe. Okay. Darkwing, I think you need a cold shower. Hop back in the pool.
I think the art looks really good, though, like the facial expressions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Everything's
it looks
looking
nice.
pretty good. Yeah, so we see his inventor plot comes back because he whips out what he calls his handy dandy homemade X-ray vision scope. I don't know how he made it.
Everybody. He's definitely poisoning himself with radiation every time he uses it.
I'd believe it. I'm going to show you the first thing he sees when he looks through that thing, because I know.
Oh! Yes. So it is Herb Muddlefoot getting a massage. And he looks so relaxed. He's even got like little banana print shorts on. I love it. Look at how happy that man is.
He's living his best life, and I think that's Pirate Steven is the one giving him the massage, the cameo.
Okay. Little smackety smack on that backety back.
I knew you would appreciate it. I feel like
Right.
they've secretly tried to get Herb into every single issue, and I'm here for it.
They really have, and I'm appreciating it. I feel like this is all for me, so thank you. The one person in this world who still appreciates the Muddlefoots.
He's got everything that he needs. But Darkwing's being surprisingly polite. He says, "Pardon me, Herb," and then points out that Herb can't even see him, but he can't unsee that. That's the second time that Darkwing's been like, "Ew, Herb Muddlefoot."
Yeah, well, it's the first time he saw him naked in a bath. But didn't Herb show him that picture himself?
Yes.
So this time he actually is peeping on Herb, just relaxing and getting a massage. Is this the true romance?
Herbwing.
We had to get Morgana out of the picture, so she flew herself to the moon, and now they're reunited at the spa.
Muddlewing.
Although they did have an adventure at a spa.
Oh, they did.
Mm-hmm. You sweat your life.
That's on the wheel, too. We'll get to that one, won't we?
At some point, yeah. And then it'll be all Muddlefoot time, baby.
Ooh. Well, we're moving away from the Muddlefoots for now because
No. Okay.
Darkwing's looking around and he spots one of those subatomic freezers.
Like an ice sauna type thing?
I guess. And Launchpad's like dying in the whirlpool. And Darkwing says, "Quit goofing around and help." And poor Launchpad. He surfaces, and Darkwing, what is he doing here? He's floating on a chair, and he has Launchpad holding onto the chair. For a second, it kind of looked like he was using Launchpad as a surfboard.
As an oar? Okay. He's paddleboarding with Launchpad as the board.
Yes.
Got it.
So Liquidator is doing his usual, "Are you feeling a bit lost at sea? Allow me to introduce you to the wave of the future." And of course, he's created a giant wave in the pool. And he's whipped out a surfboard, and Darkwing is surfing on a chair in the background. And we're getting some Liquidator jingles. We're getting the, "And if you don't want to get caught looking all washed up, get one of these handy dandy Liquidator surfboards, guaranteed to float your boat with the unbelievably low price of $10,000. Available in 5 easy payments."
Liquidator price gouging continues.
Yes, and then we get the jingle boards.
Jingle boards?
Surfboards with legs, except they're not lady legs.
Oh, they're the ladies! Oh, they're not ladies.
Well, they're duck legs, but they're not sexy lady legs. But they are jingle somethings.
They're the Floodettes version 2.0.
Yes, and they come running out and start dancing. And Launchpad says, "It's my worst fear, anthropomorphic surfboards." Which, same, Launchpad.
Aw, yay.
And then they start singing, "Surf, surf, surf, surf away." Well, Launchpad comments, "That's very creepy." I'm going to show you, of course.
Hey, lobster woman. Oh, yeah, they're kind of like little noodle legs. So these are, I don't know. Does not look like a person could fit in them.
He just genetically altered a surfboard.
Yeah. It's more of like a Fantasia look, where these surfboards actually just grew legs. Well, there we go. Yikes, that's creepy. But hey, I like it.
I appreciate it.
Look at that liquidator. He's having a good time.
He is. So Darkwing surfs into the subatomic freezer where they are storing all the bottled water. And Liquidator floats in after him and says, "Wave hello to the future." And the surfboards also come in behind him and say, "Wave, wave, wave, wave hello." So I like that they're doing the whole bit, because I feel like we never got to see that again after Dry Hard.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I
Bring
thought
back the classics.
it's a good callback.
Yeah.
And then this is like very Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, because Darkwing says, "Time for you to chill out." And then
Nice to see you.
and slams him into the subatomic room. And then Liquidator points out that a little chill isn't going to slow him down. And I mean, that's true, because we saw in Dry Hard it didn't work the first time.
It gives him human feet.
So LP says, "Aren't you worried they'll escape?" Darkwing says that it's a subatomic freezer, so it isn't just a little cold, it's very cold. And then we see the surfboards are in there with Liquidator, and they're freezing too.
Freezing to death.
I have to show you that too, because they're singing it too. They're like singing the jingle of themselves being cold.
Oh, Launchpad wearing short sleeves.
He is.
Oh, yeah, they're just burring. Burr, 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 burr.
The Launchpad appreciators can appreciate some Launchpad bicep.
And Darkwing noodle arms.
Good old Darkwing noodle arms. So Darkwing does his whole, once again, Darkwing Duck has heroically frozen crime in its tracks. And Launchpad says, "That was easy." And Darkwing points out that it was too easy. Dun, dun, dun.
End of comic.
Not yet.
This was the final issue.
It just ends that way. No. We see Liquidator's making his little water baby things again, the little monsters.
Liquidator is in the walk-in freezer giving birth. They're just splashing out of him.
He says, "Abominable minions, now in convenient plastic packaging." But they all freeze up. And Liquidator says, "Looks like we are going out of business, but we'll be back and better then." And then he freezes.
Why would he even have that in his own spa?
I guess if he did this intentionally, because Darkwing points out that it's too easy, it could have been an intentional, like they knew that's what Darkwing would think of doing.
Okay, I'll let you continue.
Because right after that, Launchpad asks if he's worried about Liquidator escaping, and Darkwing says, "Not unless the power goes out, but now we have a bigger villain to deal with," because he has decided that this was all a diversion.
Okay.
So he runs out into the middle of the busy city streets, somehow doesn't get hit by a car, and there's all these signs around. You can see the Nourishing Organic Good Hotel, the Good TV, Nourishing Organic Taxis. Basically everything's got the sign on it, hair salon, etc. So he's running down the street and he says, "We're missing something bigger than Liquidator." He uses his own brands. I've never heard of this one before. So LP asks if maybe he's working with someone, and Darkwing says he's working for someone. And LP, who seems to be very much the voice of reason this time around, says, "But his ego's almost big as yours, DW." And Darkwing's like, "How dare you? No one has ever had an ego as big as mine." Ba-dum-dum. Which is true. We've seen the size of his ego. It's terrifying.
It is literally massive.
So they get to the Thunder Quack and they're flying around. And Darkwing says, "I just can't figure out what we're missing." And then Honker calls him. And he says, why would Honker call me? But it's Goslin. And he says, Goslin, what are you doing on Honker's phone? And she says, well,
He's like, well, you wouldn't get me my own.
That's exactly what she says. She says, how else would I get a hold of you since you won't give me my own phone? Which is totally fair. I guess Honker gets a phone, though.
Of course Honker gets a phone. Probably the only one who knows how to work all the apps, so, like, Herb keeps getting himself stranded places, and Honker has to, like, arrange an Uber pickup for him.
He's a good kid. He does it responsibly.
He does. He has no other choice.
Darkwing is not interested in her arguments. He says, it's not the time. I've got a major mystery on my hands. Goslin says, oh, Keen, may I come help? Which sounds very polite.
Mm-hmm.
And Darkwing says, no, you're going to school where you are safe. He is like...
As if Bushroot didn't just destroy it.
I was just gonna... And that's what LP says, now that Bushroot is safely behind hedge trimmers.
Mm-hmm.
LP, he's being very helpful.
He's very lucid. It's his turn to hone the brain cell.
Yes, because Darkwing's out to lunch, apparently, but... Goslin tells him that they're just having an assembly because they're changing the school's name.
Oh, I think I might know what it is.
And Darkwing, he says, so they're going to finally name it Darkwing Duck Elementary, huh? Who the heck is George Quackington anyway? Which Darkwing clearly didn't go to history class.
He didn't do anything. He has no class.
Honker pokes his head in and says, actually, they're changing the name to the Nourishing Organic Good Elementary School. Goslin says, we're getting some random new principal. Principal Flossie has been upset about it all morning. They didn't give her any choice. And LP's like, oh, wow, this is all over St. Canard now. So Goslin continues and says, I wouldn't miss anything important. And Darkwing once again says, you're going to stay there where it's safe. And Goslin's like, okay, I'll just stage a walkout in support of the principal, which, fair. I mean, if she's going to be stuck there, she's going to cause some havoc.
Yeah, I mean, just stage a walkout regardless of who's the principal.
It's true.
Seems like a Goslin move.
And he's about to tell her not to, and she hangs up on him.
I go, bye!
Exactly. So he says, Goslin staging a walkout. This is no good. And then he pauses and he says, no good.
No good.
No good. Oh no, it all makes sense. And then he grabs Launchpad by his scarf and is basically strangling him.
That villain we all know.
That villain! Dr. No Good. So they're still, like, in the thunderquack when he starts, like, grabbing LP, who's trying to fly. Which is pretty funny, because it looks like they're about to spin out of control and crash and die. Darkwing doesn't seem to care. He says, no good, nourishing, organic, good. It was all right in front of me, and it's funny because you figured it out long before Darkwing ever did.
Well, most people figure things out before Darkwing.
Darkwing tells LP to quit goofing off and get to the school. So we see at the school that Goslin has indeed staged a walkout. They're walking around on the front, lawn of the playground with their signs. One of them is just a kid holding up a sign that says stop, and another one's holding a sign that just says free.
Stop. Free.
They got the spirit. Goslin says ducklings on strike, which is kind of cute. And Goslin says, this strike is serious, right, Honker? And Honker is not terribly convinced. He says, I don't know. New principal, Dr. Newgood, did say we can have all the candy we want from the vending machines. And Goslin is immediately like, never mind. Why didn't you say so? Long live Principal Dr. No Good. And they immediately go over to the candy machines and start eating all the candy. And all the children's like, not suspicious at all this candy that these kids are eating for free.
No, it's going to be great.
I'll send you a picture of this because it does look pretty funny. You just see all these like kids laying around on the ground like they're drunk.
Oh yeah, they've gorged themselves. Stop. Oh my gosh, Goslin is really excited about that candy.
They partied hard.
And she's white again. And then this lady who's being escorted out crying, I'm assuming, is the old principal.
Yeah, and she was in the TV show too. She appears a couple times in a few different episodes.
Poor lady.
With a paddle, as I recall.
Whoa. All right.
I want to say it was Toys R Us, and Drake starts begging to spare the child. She's only a child, and she's like, well, we'll get to that episode, but I remember that very specifically. Because of course I do. And then we see the shadowy figure. Excellent. Eat up, children. And then we'll have our assembly, because that's not weird at all.
Nope. Seems completely normal and organic.
So we see this bald, kind of looks like a beagle boy. He's bald. He's got a cat on his shoulder. I'm pretty sure he's the exact same guy that appeared in Double O Duck from DuckTales.
Yeah, I Googled him because I'm like, I have no idea who this is. And then I was like, oh, Double O Duck, because it's the one with feathers galore and
yes.
Launchpad. It looks exactly like a spy. So then they use him as a spy in the OG DuckTales.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, for some reason, he wants to take over the school because he says there's going to be a few changes around here. Before he can finish, the thunderquack crashes through the wall, which...
Of course.
Don't kill all the children, LP.
Just some of them.
Just some of them. And Darkwing pops out and says, I am the terror who flaps in the night. I am gym class on the day you forgot to wear deodorant. And then he throws a dodgeball at Dr. No Good and says, I am Darkwing Duck, and I thought you vanished. And Dr. No Good says, rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. So it kind of implies that they've met previously, or he at least knows Dr. No Good, or knows of him.
Mm-hmm.
We see all these terrifying, glowing-eyed children. It's like the village out here. The village in school. Do you know what I'm talking about, the village?
Is that the M. Night Shyamalan movie?
No, it was like the creepy blonde-haired children with like the blue eyes.
Oh, Children of the Corn?
I thought it was called The Village.
Live slug reaction. Let's look it up. I'm pretty sure The Village is the M. Night Shyamalan one. The Village.
Village was the 90s, right?
Village of the Damned? The Village, the M. Night Shyamalan one was 2004.
This was like early 90s.
Village of the Damned. Oh, yeah. These are creepy blonde kids with glowing eyes. This was from 1960. Black and white. Oh, there's also a 1995 one.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Village of the Damned. There it is. So, Village of the Damned, Darkwing style.
Village of the Damned Winged Duck.
Village of the Darned.
That would actually be a very good title for a parody.
Here it is. Herb Muddlefoot is the first to fall under the thrall of the children of the darned.
But not Darkwing, because right now he's dodging dodgeballs left and right. He says that he was the dodgeball champion of 19 cough cough. Years aren't important. I like that. Any kind of reference to age, and he's just kind of like, I'm this old.
We shall never, ever say how old. Except we know that he graduated high school in 1972.
And that he's 35-ish.
Forever.
He points out what is important is figuring out why the kids are attacking him. And Dr. No Good says, the nourishing, organic, good candy, of course, guaranteed to satisfy your sweet tooth and control your mind.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then again, Darkwing seems to know him because he says, I knew it was you, Dr. No Good, but mind control crimes are doomed to fail against Darkwing Duck. Just ask that malicious menace, Megavolt. And then you get the little note in the corner that says, see, Darkwing Duck, #1.
Oh, because of the phones.
Yeah. And Dr. No Good says, oh, I did. He inspired the plan, and Liquidator helped me pull off the marketing. You see, I'm getting the evil band back together. And Darkwing says, foul? Which implies that maybe the Fearsome Five are members of Fowl in this iteration, or at least some of them are. It's not very clear yet. It's not super clear. And then we see Goslin has been hypnotized and she's throwing dodgeballs at Darkwing. She says, fiendish organization for world larceny. Has a ring to it. Maybe I'll join. And I'll show you the creepy glowing-eyed village of the darned children. They do look pretty intense. Oh, you even sent me a picture of them.
I did.
Look at those little bowl haircuts.
Yeah, there's lots of little bowl cuts as far as the eye can see. A kingpin dog nose, like an anthro.
I'd be damned, too, if someone gave me that haircut.
Yeah, right? Those are some evil-looking kids.
Even Honker, once again. Poor Honker.
Even Honker. Honker is having a heck of a time, this comic arc. Meanwhile, his father's having the time of his life. Ain't it always the way? The sins of the father and whatnot.
So Darkwing is going to try and talk some sense into Goslin. He says, you can't go against me. And she throws a dodgeball at his face and says, I can. I'll anticipate your every move. And Darkwing whips out some other kind of invention and says, what about this brand new? And then it's a hoverboard, I guess. And Goslin knocks it out of his hands and goes, ha, hoverboard? So Darkwing realizes that she knows him too well, which makes this difficult. He says, I can get through to you if I can just, and then he gets hit and thrown out the doors and says, remind you of who you are and who I am. He runs to the rat catcher, dodging children left and right as they throw dodgeballs at him. They're going to murder him with those dodgeballs. They're merciless. High stakes. To be fair, if someone possessed a bunch of children and sent them after me in a game of dodgeball, I would definitely die.
I never really liked dodgeball as a kid because it was very stressful. I can't imagine if I was just like me right now as an adult walking around and a whole bunch of kids appeared with dodgeballs. Like I would probably lose my mind. Like that high-pitched plink that the balls would make. No, it's terrible.
So Darkwing does what I can only refer to as a callback to Darkly Dawns the Duck, the first time he ever meets Goslin. He screeches up next to her and he puts a helmet on her head and says, never fear, little miss, Darkwing Duck has you now. And then he drives away and she's still hypnotized and fuming. And he says, please excuse me for a moment, Dr. No Good. And Dr. No Good says, oh, of course, take your time. I'll just condition my new army, which I don't know what he's expecting he can get out of a bunch of children with dodgeballs, but maybe...
Who are about to sugar crash real hard?
Yes, but this is also the Darkwing Duck universe, so I could see in some shape or form they'd find a way to make these children mass murder everybody.
So did he just left Launchpad behind?
I guess he did. Well, actually, hang on.
Launchpad is hiding under the seat of the Thunderquack.
Yeah, because he crashed in with the Thunderquack, but we haven't seen Launchpad since. So I assume Launchpad crashed in and maybe left.
Launchpad is just eating all of the candy in the vending machine.
He would.
He would. He's just getting more and more mind controlled, but just keep thinking, oh, one more bar won't hurt.
Meanwhile, Goslin is punching him, just like in Darkly Dawns. And he says, that's the spirit I so came to admire. And Goslin says, spirit? And she snaps out of her hypnosis. And he says, yeah, the pluck and spirit that touched the heart of this stoic sentinel of the shadows. And she hugs him and says, oh, Dad. And he says, and now, to take care of Dr. No Good, let's get dangerous together. And then we see to be continued, which implies that issue 6, they're gonna take down Dr. No Good together. And I guess Launchpad too.
Everyone's favorite Darkwing Duck villain.
I am very curious about how it's been built up, because so far there hasn't been any actual foul agents. It's been the Fearsome Four, Dr. No Good, guaranteed Negaduck has gotta pop up in the next issue. Like, I would be shocked if he did not. It just doesn't make sense to me that you would have, like, almost the entire Fearsome Five, but not their leader.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious, like, I don't know if it implies, like, I feel like it depends on the characterization and where she's taking it. I feel like Negaduck would never work under anybody. He's too dominant a character.
Yeah.
Unless he is the one running the show.
He's the new high command.
If he took over Fowl, maybe he kicked out all the agents and managed to, like, get Dr. No Good to work for him. Or Dr. No Good is quite literally Negaduck on stilts.
He's not a particularly tall character either, which makes it pretty funny if Negaduck had to be on stilts to be this tall. Or maybe still be because ahead of Fowl. And I don't know, maybe Negaduck is off, licking tires or something. Whatever
Skulls.
Negaduck does in his free time, is licking skulls and chewing on tires in a junkyard somewhere.
We do have at least the toy version of Negaduck cover for issue 6, which leads me to believe that we'll get something with him. And I mean, it is an ongoing series now. We know there's an issue 7 and an issue 8. So.
Yeah, I feel like it's possible there could be 2 villains next episode, or next issue rather. Because I feel like they've done that for the last, like, two separate little stories going on at once since the this last one with, like, Bushroot and Morgana and all that.
I think the pacing for this one is better because he takes down Liquidator quickly, but it's very plot relevant in that he points out that it's just a diversion for another villain. So I think that works better than just if he just took down a villain quickly, but it's not really explained why. So I think that all works out well enough. I really like the artwork. I thought it looked very good. Like, it just feels very consistent now. And I like the facial expressions and the emotions they convey. And the art is very, as I've said before, it's very clean. I don't know how to describe that. It's just there's not a whole lot going on in the background that distracts you.
Yeah, it's nice. He's definitely come into his own drawing these characters. Oh, it's nice. I don't really know what the focus on the school is about.
There's a hellmouth. That's what I've decided.
School is just right on the ley lines. Oh, man. Well, at least Honker didn't get turned into pudding this issue. So, he's just betrayed by candy, so now he's never going to be able to eat pudding. He's never going to be able to eat candy. And meanwhile, Herb is still enjoying the best massage of his life. Yeah, this was a fun one. I liked this one.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good issue overall. I'm not being too strict on the canon and the consistency, like the fact that Darkwing just knows who Dr. No Good is, and he's like, I'm putting the band back together. It implies that Fowl disbanded at some point in time. And yeah, I am excited to see where it goes next, because I think issue 6 is going to be, at least for this arc, the conclusion.
I feel like she did a good job writing the Liquidator, who is not an easy character to tackle. Sounded like him. I always like me some Liquidator, so good stuff. And yeah, well, I feel like Dr. No Good doesn't really belong, but it doesn't really matter, because I'm sure he'll be gone by the middle of next issue anyway. There's only one issue left. So, we'll see. And like, I don't know that the 4 would... Maybe the Liquidator probably, I think, would be the only one that might be interested in being in Fowl. Because of their resources. The others, I feel like, are just too dumb or crazy. But, I don't know, maybe they're desperate for members these days. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. We can speculate all we want, and that's the fun of, comic books.
Yeah. Next issue will be out mid-June. We will not be covering it immediately because I will be on vacation.
Well,
So we'll cover it after when I come back. June in general will be a very quiet month from us.
yes, we have things happening. It is summertime. We could take some turtle time and lay on the beach. Time turtle bids you take a nap. And yeah, eventually we will get to cover in the next issue and we will discuss some time and punishment, which is exciting. But yeah, pretty good streak here with these comics. I hope that this renewal or whatever, their extension at least, lets them do some more fun and crazy things now that they seem to be getting the swing of the characters and drawing them. You sent me the picture of Darkwing dodging all these dodgeballs, and it's really fun. Like, he's got some great motion.
Yeah, he's very good at doing the cartoony squash and stretch. All that stuff looks very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we will continue to read them, and by we I mean Ange, and I will listen. But until the next issue comes out, and remember that crime doesn't sleep, and neither does the liquidator in his gusher cement shell.
Don't eat the candy unless you really want the candy and don't mind being hypnotized.
That's it.
That's
That's the moral.